good evening, or should I say good morning? 1:31 in the morning on a Thursday morning, January 8th. Technically, it's like the second $9 podcast of 2026. So that's again episode 24. It's like one away from the great episode number 25, the monumental episode 25, where no one will show up, no special guests, be especially awkward episode. I'm just gonna call it right now. Okay, I am the Patreon Poobah. Not a member of the Grunt Club. No matter how much the degenerates on the Falcon's Nest want me to be, even though I apparently have a best-selling shirt with an AI image of my face on it. That they decided to run with it, and I gave me the okay for it. It's like what the hell, right? It's like 20 years ago, I probably would have been pissed, but no, it's like I'm at the age where it's like, why worry about that kind of crap, right? Because you know the truth. It's like but it goes to show you that AI is a dangerous thing. Can be a very dangerous thing. It's only going to get even worse. So it makes you pause and wonder exactly what you post on social media, pictures wise or whatever. Because anything you do now can because everybody with the AI technology is basically the Wild West right now. There's no real regulation, and people are just going nuts. People going nuts with it. And it's like no barriers or nothing. It's like they're a whole lot. Got a whole lot of denials. Potential lawsuits. That kind of thing. But not here, of course. But it's just I could see it in certain other situations. It's like earlier. I'm looking around looking for a WAV files to add to this. Add to my toolbox here that I use for the podcast, and I found a site that tried to do an AI clone of one Luke Doc Gallows' voice, or make it a text to speech thing, right? So of course I was intrigued. How close is it? I checked it, and not even in the ballpark. Not even in the ballpark. If I don't even want to describe it. It was just like, but you got to figure if people are doing that now, the technology is just going to improve, and it's just going to get harder and harder to tell things apart. And you just have to use your best butt judgment. But the way people are getting indoctrinated social media, it's basically it's no thinking. It's just immediate reaction, no matter what. It's like not stopping to stop, go back a second. Wait a minute, right? So it's something to keep in the back of your mind, like in the future. Stuff like that happen. Be real prepared for shit like this to increase. It's like you see it with all the AI fake movie trailers for the Avengers movie coming out. And it's like they're getting more and more convincing, but by the generation, it's like within about 3 or 4 years, the technology is going to advance to the point where it's like it's not going to be. It's going to be indistinguishable from the regular from actual work. I mean, there's enough people learn how to train. There's a lot of open source open source programs for AI where it's like you learn that you can generate like multiple things with no restrictions or whatever. So people are going nuts with it, and it's good. Just have to less is more, right? Just use your best judgment. You know, uh, I don't want to take the tone of like the that's seen it all, tired old man, but well, technically I am an old man. It's an old man. It's like I got I turned 59 next month. I didn't stutter. 59. I'm 3 years older than Hunter Hearst Helmsley. I got I'm about a decade and a half older than the gun. And Gallows is about 16, 17 years older than Gallows, give or take, right? So I have seen it all, right? But I've seen it all, but I'm able to like step back for a second, just, not like react like irrationally, like a lot of people are doing. So just sit back and watch, and make my own opinion and just keep it to myself, pretty much. But let's get on a better topic. So I shall we? I'm going off on a rant, yet another rant. Okay, busy week for the boys. Boys showing up in NOAA, doing what they do. Magic killers for everyone. Depleting steakhouses up one side of the Budokan and down the other, right? And visiting Fat Ass Masa, who's recovering from like a real bad illness, right? And you say what you want, you can make jokes about Fat Ass Masa, but he's he's supported Gaijin for years in New Japan, over decades, right? They don't have to, but there's the thing. In Japan, they consider it an honor to do so. It's their way of showing respect, for the hard work that the wrestlers do. So it's one day gonna have to have Gallows and Machine Gun go into deep dive on what exactly sparks, the lore and the philosophy of sponsor parties for like people who don't know about them. So it's sponsor parties are ingrained in their culture and ingrained in the culture, right? They do the same thing for sumo wrestlers, pretty much. But 18-hour flight there, 19-hour flight back, except for the gun, which it's like 19 hours for him, about 36 hours for his luggage, another 24, 50, another 20 hours flying home with like the connection in Seattle. After canceling the flight back home, it's weird. It's like it's like almost every time he's gone on an international flight, somebody's been fucking with the guns, international flights. It's either it's either weather or they cancel the flight outright, and he's got to reroute and everything. And it's like, good thing. It's good he's patient about that kind of thing, right? Because you keep doing it all the time, people, you start wondering, going, hey, and they do talk about the jet lag. Jet lag is a real thing. It's still a real thing. They're flying like coast to coast and everything. The funny thing is they gotta go fly coast to coast again next week because they come back out of here to a little south of me in Tijuana for the crash on next Friday on the 16th. And Probably great brother Andrade will finally be able to work with the boys, which is good to see. Nice to see Andrade like reintroduce himself as a Don Callis family member on Dynamite last night. It's the only way. It's the only way they could have handled it, really. In my mind, it's like, and then Don Callis decides to probably replace Brian Cage with Jake Something. If you've never seen Jake Something work, Jake Something is a beast. You can go look up his matches on DPW, and he was also like in a tag team in DPW with Speedball. So there's history there. And having him like take out, kayfabe wise and story wise, they took out Jet Speed. But behind the scenes thing, it's like because Jet Speed's because the Oklahoma Athletic Commission is very, very archaic in their in some of their stuff. It's like that's why Nyla they don't allow like Nyla Rose to wrestle in Oklahoma. They don't allow they don't allow like it's a petty. It's like they don't allow anybody who like uses other pronouns other than call themselves binary or whatever. They won't allow them to wrestle in the state. When Speedball is like that, right? So it's sort of a work. It's sort of a workaround. You have to do what you have to do. It's like there are certain states where it's like the laws are stuck in the 70s. It's like certain states they don't allow blood. It's like that's why you had like that one Mox match where it's like Mox and Darby match where they had to get real creative and not running the blade because they were not allowed to, but they could do it hard way. And it was considered considered acceptable. Yeah, and so they have like as usual, they're setting up things nicely for the next pay-per-view going down the line, right? And coming off the heels of like the Hiroshi Tanahashi's retirement at Tokyo Dome for Wrestle Kingdom. What a spectacle! But he deserves it. He deserved every bit of that. That's how you do a retirement match right. Considering how much he meant to that company, New Japan, because technically he saved New Japan. If it wasn't for him saving him rising up when he did, along with the other, what they consider the Three Musketeers, him, Shinsuke, and Shibata. There might not even be a New Japan, arguably, right? And people, he gave it his all against Okada. For he wanted to go out on his terms, and he went out fighting. He went out fighting, and it's like the perfect send off. The riding around the golf cart contraption around the dome for an hour after the match, and nobody's left. They're just celebrating him. For U.S. Western viewers, it's kind of like, well, it seems a little, you have no idea of the respect, the awe that they have for Tanahashi and his body and his career and his body of work. There's a reason they call him the John Cena of Japan, for good or bad, right? But he's way more talented, arguably. At least he's elevated so many people. Big help in elevating the Bullet Club. I mean, the formation of Bullet Club, first night the Bullet Club was formed, it's what was over the body of Tanahashi. Speaking of the Bullet Club, like new champion Suji comes out and says Bullet Club is dead. Just on the surface it seems that way because half the War Dogs contracts are supposedly coming up and then in a month and they're leaving. But it's interesting in the thing about when they announce stuff like that in New Japan, and their announcers get on like Twitter and basically talk it up like oh yeah, Bullet Club's dead. Yeah. No, it's a storyline. They would just let it go if it wasn't. They would just let it go if it wasn't because you've watched the background when Suji's making that announcement in the ring that Bullet Club is dead. It's like you see Gato and Finley and stuff, and they're looking at him, looking at Suji like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Right? So there's things brewing in the background. Could be because Bullet Club has been as an IP has been a moneymaker for New Japan ever since it was formed and still is. Now, why would they cut up? Why would they give up a money train like that? Unless they had a plan. Had it on still? Maybe. But you figure NWO lasted for like 3-4 years as a faction between WCW and then coming back for like a year or two in WWE. Then Bullet Club's like 3 times the length. It's like 3 times the length and it's 4 different promotions at the same time, right? And and it's the one big storyline they've never done. It's like reuniting everybody under one banner, for a last run. Yeah, I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Look at the tea leaves, right? I mean, the interview that Cody, the podcast that Cody just did with Ferg, a lot of Bullet Club talk. A lot of Bullet Club talk seemingly out of nowhere, right? AJ says it's last year. The Bucks are back to being the Bucks. The Fringe, and with the Fringe, Kenny's back to being Kenny. Yeah, they're gearing up. Jay White is very close to coming back. They're gearing up for something, right? There's a reason the Don Callis family's gotten so big. There has to become like an equal force to take them down. And it may end up being an affiliation between the Death Riders and Bullet Club. It may end up that way. It's sort of like when G.I. Joe and Cobra like teamed up to face a common enemy. It's a great trope. It's a classic trope. It's like enemy of my enemy is my friend. It makes logical sense, and they'll have to do it soon because they're not getting any younger, right? But but they're still rather young, right? I mean, Nick Jackson's only 36. He's got Nick Jackson's 36 and Matt just turned 40. Like with the way they take care of the bodies and stuff, it's like you start listening to the bodies a little more, they can stretch it out for a little bit longer, right? And they could all do this for a while if they wanted to, right? Because they're all about the same age, and plus there's always a possibility of like finally admitting the honorary members, the one honorary member that's always been a part of Bullet Club, but he's never acknowledged it. He's never acknowledged it, but the Bucks have told him in one more occasion, "You're a Bullet Club, you just don't know it yet," and that would be Kevin Steen / Owens. to talk about fitting in. Kevin is Bullet Club and all by name. Always has been. Always has been. And eventually it's going to, it's the one big major storyline because, they haven't done yet. And, WWE refused to pull the trigger on it for like the entire time that the boys were in WWE. They could have had everybody. I mean, there was a point where they could have had the Elite. They could have had everybody. They fucked it up. They could have had everybody under the same umbrella. But it didn't happen. But somebody's going to. It's going to happen. It's just timing wise. And it's going to be great. The funny thing is, like, so on Wikipedia, there was like 69 former members at one time of the Bullet Club, and they're trying to put down, knock down like a Mount Rushmore of Bullet Club. Yeah, that's hard to do, right? Because you can't omit like you can't omit like the OGs, the ones who started the whole thing, like Crystal Tama and Fale and Gunsky. But you also can't ignore AJ, AJ Gallows, the Bucks. Hell, you can't even Adam Cole. People forget Adam Cole. Adam Cole, Cody. Even though Cody wasn't there long, right? He was still technically a member. Jay White. It's it's a great it's a great debate to have. It'll be talked about for like years, right? And that's not even counting the honorary members of Bullet Club. Well, I consider the honorary members. It's like with Kevin, I think El Generico / El Generico and his trainee and his student Sami Zayn, and Pepper and Cherry Bomb and Becky Lynch. The Gun is always said I said on more than one occasion if they had ever if it was his choice, the first woman he would have had in Bullet Club was Becky Lynch, because Becky gets it, and she's and someday that might happen. You never know. Never say never in wrestling. Considering the past 5-7 years in the wrestling business, it's like don't expect the unexpected. Really expect the unexpected to happen. I mean, where it'll happen, I'm not Nostradamus. I'm not even Timo Meltzer, right? I'm just a fan who thinks who wants to see great things. That's all.